It's officially spring. You've survived another winter, the temperatures are on the rise, and you might be wondering, well, why isn't my grass green yet? And if you're wondering what you can do to get your grass to turn green, then you've clicked on the right video. The first thing to consider is why your grass turns dormant and turns brown in the first place. Dormancy is something that your grass does to protect itself. Just like all living things on planet Earth, our main job is to keep ourselves alive. So in the wintertime, whether you have warm season grass or cool season grass, your grass is going to do whatever it can to survive. So what it does is it goes dormant, which means it focuses all of its energy into the root zone to keep those roots alive. As long as it does that, your grass stays alive. The top, the part that you see, the leaf of the blade, that's going to turn brown and it's going to look like it's dead even though it's not. Once temperatures warm up to a certain level, around 55 to 60 degrees for cool season grass like I have, or around 70-ish to a little bit higher for warm season grass, you're going to notice that things start to come out of dormancy and turn green. You may also notice during that process it's not a perfect uniform green color that you see, but it's important to remember not everything greens up at the same time. Some things to take into consideration is different varieties of grass come out of dormancy or turn green at different times. For example, in my yard I've got Kentucky bluegrass, perennial rye, and I even have some tall fescue. I've noticed that the perennial ryegrass greens up faster than the other types of grass. One other thing that affects the color of your grass coming out of wintertime is how much snow cover you've had in certain areas. You would think that having your grass covered in snow would be a bad thing, but really it's one of the best things for your grass in the winter. It acts like an insulator and it keeps the grass from having to deal with harsh, really cold conditions. So the areas that were covered in snow, you'll probably look and see that those areas are greener than the ones that were not. The reality of the situation is the only thing that's going to make your grass come out of dormancy and turn green all comes down to soil temperature. You can put all the fertilizer in the world that you want down, but it's not going to change that Mother Nature is the overriding force. So just being patient and waiting for those soil temperatures to come up consistently, that's when your grass is going to come out of dormancy, because honestly, it knows better than we do when it's time to green up. Some things you do have control over are, one, your fertilization. Grass that has enough nutrients, specifically nitrogen and iron, those are the two things that help control the color of your grass. If you do a good job in the fall of making sure you have enough nitrogen going into your plant and enough for it to store up throughout the winter, it's going to come into the springtime and it's probably not even going to need any food because it has it all stored up. You'll probably notice that shaded areas, that's going to come out of dormancy or turn green later than areas that get full sun, because the soil temperatures in those spots are going to be lower than the full sun areas. So don't get frustrated if part of your lawn looks really good and other parts are still dormant. You didn't do anything wrong. Those areas just aren't quite as warm, so the grass is still dormant to protect itself. If you've ever watched a Major League Baseball game on opening day and you've wondered how do they get the grass to look so great like that, it's because they can control the temperature of the root zone. Many teams, like baseball teams or football teams that play in cold weather climates, they have underground heating systems that run hot water through pipes that keeps the root zone at about 60 degrees or warmer. So if you're watching a game in January and they've got beautiful green grass, that's why. One other thing to consider is that short grass tends to green up faster than longer grass. Now, that doesn't mean go out and hack your grass down low and then it's going to start greening up. That's not what I mean. Grass that's been maintained at a short height of cut, like my backyard that I keep at about a ½ inch, every year that greens up faster than my front yard that's at about 2½ inches. It's simply that the grass blade only has to grow out a ½ inch and be cut off for all of that to be nice and green. That longer grass, it takes a few mows to get rid of all that dormant grass blade before you start to see everything greening up. While you may not have much control of when your grass turns green, once it does, doing things like fertilizing around Easter, Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day, mowing appropriately with a sharp blade and cutting off only a third of the grass blade at a time, and making sure that your grass gets at least an inch of water per week, whether it be by rainfall or by irrigation. If you can do those things, you're going to have a beautiful lawn. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.